Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the Benchwarmer Sports Podcast. I'm Raffi, joined by Davian. Davian, Super Bowl Sunday is just around the corner. I meant to say corner. It's right around the corner. 4 quarters. Davian, we got the absolute worst case scenario. Honestly, between the Eagles and the Chiefs, I am taking the Meteor. I would love to say that I didn't see this coming, but I absolutely did foresee this potentially coming. I predicted Bills-Eagles, so I was close, but if you had told me that the Super Bowl was Chiefs-Eagles, I would not have been surprised. We both called out the Chiefs. We both said, nope, whoever wins Bills-Ravens is going to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. And Davian, what did the Chiefs do?
They chiefed their way through it with the refs.
They chiefed their way. No. They patriated their way to the Super Bowl.
No.
From the Patriots to the Chiefs, and now the Chiefs are the evil empire.
You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. The Chiefs have the refs in their pocket like the Patriots never, ever had. I'm sorry. Did the Patriots at times get calls in their favor? Yes, of course, like any other team.
All the time.
But the way, like, if you touch Patrick Mahomes, it's a roughing the passer call. And this is on a mobile quarterback. On Brady, it's one thing. He doesn't run, right? So you could say he's, like, not really, like, a defenseless player. He is a defenseless player. But Mahomes is a defenseless player in half of these cases, and they're getting the calls. And I'm sorry, that was also a first down in the Bills game. I can't believe it wasn't called. And the fact that the NFL, that in tennis, they can see to the centimeter where the ball is on the line, and you can't do that with a large football, like put a tracker or something into it, is absolutely bizarre to me. And I absolutely can't stand it. These Chiefs are here because of the refs, and I say that. But I also say that this Chiefs team is a good team and is a Super Bowl worthy team.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of covered it. All right, that's it for this. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, there's plenty more to discuss for the rest of the podcast about who we are picking to win the Super Bowl. But Davian, we got off to a little bit of a feisty start than normal. I do vibe with that. But first, I do need to still ask you, how are you? How are things? It seems like you're a bit on edge right now. But hey, Drake May's a Pro Bowler at least. You got that going.
Drake May's a Pro Bowler. He's a Pro Bowler. I'm so happy about that. Look, who else was a Pro Bowler? Mac Jones. But I don't really care about that. We're not going to talk about that. Look, I think Drake May is a great quarterback. Does he deserve to be in the Pro Bowl? No, that's why he wasn't voted in. But the fact that he is, and he can go out there, have some fun, and we get to really see kind of like a different side of Drake May, the same way that we saw a different side of Mac Jones during the Pro Bowl, I think really helps out. Also, the Pro Bowl is a good time to help recruit players onto your team. You could go, play catch with like AJ Brown and be like, hey man, you're really good. And you could call Mike Vrabel and be like, hey man, we need to get this guy. So, I mean, that'd be ideal, but getting AJ Brown is definitely a long shot. But in any case, I'm pretty good. JT Miller's a New York Ranger. I'm very happy about that. Raffi, how are you doing? Because right after we got off the call yesterday, you made a great analysis on this trade. But there was a big trade that happened in the NHL. And for our viewers, just so you know, Raffi almost broke down crying on the phone with me.
I just want to say that for a split moment in time, Mikko Rantanen was a Chicago Blackhawk. And if I could freeze time, I would freeze that moment right there before Mikko Rantanen was wrongfully traded to the Carolina Hurricanes in a 3-team trade between the Carolina Hurricanes, Colorado Avalanche, Chicago Blackhawks. But it's okay. I'll have 7 years of watching Mikko Rantanen play with Connor Bedard. This does not mean Connor Bedard is getting traded to the Hurricanes. This means Mikko Rantanen will sign a $15 million by 7-year deal with the Chicago Blackhawks when free agency opens. I can at least hold on to that. But yeah, right now I'm holding on to that 1 second where Mikko Rantanen was a member of the Chicago Blackhawks. It's funny too, because if you look at there's this one tweet, and it's the first line is Mikko Rantanen for Nils Ljungthorpe. And Davian, do you know who Nils Ljungthorpe is?
No, absolutely not.
He is some random player prospect in the Blackhawk system who is playing, I believe, in the ECHL. I don't know much about him, and that just shows how little I know about him. But it said Mikko Rantanen for Nils Ljungthorpe, which at that moment in time, ignoring everything else that happened in that trade, was the biggest fleece job in NHL history, 100%. But to be more serious, and for the Hurricanes, You made a splash last year with Jake Gensel. It didn't work out. But, hey, keep taking swings, keep being aggressive. And the Hurricanes, a team that's known for 2 Achilles heels. They have 2 Achilles heels. They don't have one. One is goaltending. They still need to fix their goaltending. Their goaltending situation is awful. Frederik Andersen continues to be injury prone. Kochetkov has been very up and down. He's been very shaky this year. And the other Achilles heel is they don't get the goals, especially in the big games in the playoffs. Mikko Rantanen is a top 10 player in the NHL. He knows how to put the puck in the net. He's a consistent 30-goal scorer. I think this is a big move for the Hurricanes. And Davian, as a Rangers fan, I would be very, very nervous about having potentially going up against Carolina Hurricanes this year. I think the Hurricanes have made themselves a team to beat. As long as their if they can get average goaltending in the playoffs, which is a lot to ask for out of the Hurricanes, this team is going to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, I don't want to make this a full hockey podcast because we are here to talk about the Super Bowl, but these Carolina Hurricanes are absolutely no joke. They absolutely wiped the floor with us the other day, beating us 4-0. And there's a lot to blame on that, and maybe the addition of JT Miller can, help change the team's trajectory in the past few days. Past couple weeks we've been doing well, but past few days have definitely been rough. So, hopefully we can turn around against Boston tomorrow. Boston on February 1st, and
with JT Miller.
With JT Miller. Indeed, and then it's a back-to-back against Vegas on Sunday, February 2nd. But in any case, Raffi, we're not gonna make this Groundhog's Day and keep talking about hockey and keep repeating ourselves. But sadly, But the question is, are we going to be repeating ourselves on our Super Bowl prediction? Raffi, Eagles, Chiefs, and your winner is
a tie.
Oh,
I hope it's no. That was anticlimactic. I know you were expecting some fireworks.
I gave you a whole drums, like, yikes, man.
Anyways, on a more serious note, because we're kind of going off the rails on this podcast, and rightfully so. I think we're both trying to beat around the bush of predicting the Super Bowl matchup because I don't think either of us. I think these are two of the best teams in the NFL. I'm not saying this is like, oh, these two teams are terrible.
No, we have the best team in the NFL, game. And we have a mediocre team in the Chiefs.
So, like Davian just explained, we have a best team, one of the best teams in the NFL, and a mediocre team. And you know what, Davian? I've seen my fair share of Super Bowls over the past 10 years. And you know what? I think the Chiefs are going to three-peat. The way that they're able to pull away in close games is a skill. It's infuriating. It's super frustrating. But you know what?
Robbie,
when the team needs
an actual analysis,
when they need a play, we saw. Don't go crazy on me. But we saw this with the Tom Brady era. They find ways to win. The Chiefs will find a way to win. Their defense is amazing. I think they're going to scheme up very well and shut down Saquon. And I think that the Chiefs are going to pull off the three-peat, which we have not seen, and I don't think we've ever seen. We might have seen it a while ago. But I think the Chiefs are going to pull this off. Their wide receivers, they don't have any standouts, but they're going to get the job done because they work by committee. Their run game, Kareem Hunt is a solid running back. You have Pacheco as well. You have a great duo. And again, when the lights are the brightest, when you need a play, who do I think is going to make that play? Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes? I'm taking Patrick Mahomes 10 out of 10 times. I'm taking Andy Reid over Nick Sirianni 10 out of 10 times. And Davian, you're not going to like this, but the Chiefs are going to win again. And the Chiefs are going to be fighting for that mantle of being the best dynasty of the 2000s with the Super Bowl win.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think if they win this, they are a certified dynasty. Almost at the level.
They technically are already a dynasty by the definition. They've won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years.
Yes, agreed. The question is, will Mahomes put up Brady-like dynasty numbers? And we have yet to see that. And we won't be able to really analyze until what?
Mahomes better numbers than Tom Brady.
Everything that Tom Brady has.
Patrick Mahomes has put up better
numbers than Tom Brady. No, of course he doesn't.
Yes, he has better accolades. He's a three-time Super Bowl champ right now. He's a two-time All-Pro.
Over the entire career.
Robbie, no, I'm not talking about until he's 45. Mahomes is only 29, and he's about to win his fourth Super Bowl.
Well, first off, he's not going to win the Super Bowl, and I'll give my case for why I think the Eagles are going to win. But even if he wins the Super Bowl, like, again, he only has 3. He only has 3 rings.
He would have 4. At 29.
Oh, wait.
He beat the Eagles once. He beat the Niners twice. He has 3. Yeah. He's going to beat the Eagles again, and he's going to get 4. And he's only 29.
Again, I'm saying career-to-career comparison. Simple as that.
Okay, Mahomes is going to have his 4th Super Bowl MVP. He already has 2 AP MVPs.
He's going to have 4, not 7, right?
He's on his way to get 7 within the next 5 years.
That's not my argument. My argument is not that Mahomes will not be able to catch up to Brady. I think he very well might be, and I actually want to see that happen because I want to see a generational player. I want, our kids at one point to look up to someone and be like, wow, Mahomes, like, this was the guy that was like the generational athlete of our era, right? But I just don't see that. Like, I right now, he's not the Tom Brady. Like, he hasn't achieved the Tom Brady level of GOAT status.
He's gonna win 4 Super Bowls before he's 30, Davian.
Raffi, again, yes, he is amazing. He is one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but he's not the best quarterback. He's not the best.
Okay. I'm gonna snip because we're going around in a circle right now, and we're getting off the rails. So
let me tell you why
we'll hold on to this discussion right now for another day. We'll hold it. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl right now? Before we get into a whole statistical argument about who's better. Okay.
Eagles fly for 2 reasons. 1, defense. 2, winning on the defense in terms of their secondary. Defense in terms of their run stop. If you stop the run against Mahomes has to start throwing the ball. And Mahomes throwing the ball, that's not an issue for him. He could throw the ball, he could scramble. He's one of the best to do that. But with the Eagles secondary that has spent years and years getting better and better, and it's a much better secondary than what it was when they had a matchup against the Chiefs last go around. This Eagles team, this Eagles secondary is going to lock up a Chiefs offensive wide receiver core that is not as good as it was. Are they good? Yes. Xavier Worthy, right? He's not injured, right? Xavier Worthy?
Nope.
Xavier Worthy, Juju. You have Kareem in the backfield, who I think will get shut down. Travis Kelce, of course, right? But at the end of the day, I think their run defense is what's going to really stifle the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs can stop 2 players on the Eagles, and those are Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown. These guys have been electric week in, week out. If you can't stop the run against the Eagles are going to run all over the Chiefs, and they're going to run out the clock. They're not going to even let Mahomes be able to complete his magical runs. And unless they perform and Nick Sirianni has a bluff of a coaching moment and fumbles the bag somehow, I don't see how this Eagles team loses. But I will say, if the Eagles show any weakness at all, the Chiefs will not only exploit that, they will show them why their mistakes is going to lead to the Eagles wins, the Chiefs wins.
I mean, it's funny too. Like, you go through, I saw I forgot, I want to say it was from Fox Sports, but you look at the Eagles' past couple draft classes. Last year, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean were their first 2 picks in the first and second round, respectively. 2023, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Tyler Steed, Sidney Brown has been decent as well. You have 2022, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean. 2021, Devonta Smith, Landon Dickerson. Oh my gosh, this team has been amazing at drafting. They did the Jalen Reagor pick and then proceed to say, okay, bet we're going to not miss on a single top 3 round pick again for their entire existence. You got to give credit where it's due. Howie Roseman has done an amazing job building this team through the draft. we constantly talk about the importance of drafting solid players for the financial benefits and also just in general because you want your team to be young, you want them to be solid, and you got to make sure you're picking the right players. This isn't the NHL where players will come into the league 3, 4, 5 years after they're drafted. These players jump in immediately, and for the Eagles, they've just consistently been drafting players who are making a big impact on their team, and it's a big reason why they're in the spot to win the Super Bowl. So I did want to at least mention that because that's something that I saw a couple days ago, and I feel like it's very important to mention because this team has really built out their team from the draft, and that should not be discredited. I will once again counter with the fact that it's Patrick Mahomes. He's gonna find a way to win. The Chiefs' defense is really unbelievable. It's I just feel like this is gonna come down to coaching at the end of the day and who's gonna make the big play. And I consistently and Jalen Hurts has made the big play before. I'm not saying he can't make the big play, but I just have more faith in Patrick Mahomes making the big play. And with Andy Reid and the Chiefs defense playing as well as they have been, I think they're really going to be able to contain this Eagles roster. The Trent McDuffie has been a lockdown corner. He takes away AJ Brown essentially in the Super Bowl in my mind because I think it's a pretty even matchup. That leaves Devonta Smith with some possibilities, potentially make a couple big plays, but the pressure that is going to be put on Jalen Hurts, literally from the defense, I think is just going to be a little too much. It's hard because we've seen this matchup before. Pretty similar teams from, I believe, what was it, 4 years ago, potentially, if I remember correctly, 3 years ago. And this game was a very high scoring game that was decided by Harrison Butker kicking a last second field goal for the Chiefs to win. So I'm very conflicted because I want to say this is going to be a low scoring game, but I look at that passer rule and I'm like, I don't know. But that Chiefs offense was much more electric. They had Tyreek Hill. It was much more open down the field than this Chiefs team, which is much more defense focused and let's shut down our opponents. We don't need Patrick Mahomes to throw 500 yards every single game. We can have him throw 200-300 yards, and as long as he's making his big plays, that's all we need because our defense is going to shut the opponent down. So, David, do you think the Super Bowl is going to be a high-scoring game or a low-scoring game? Because this has been something that I've been teetering between.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's going to be a low-scoring game. It might be as low-scoring as unless... Okay, it's going to be low-scoring if... it really depends on what happens in terms of the Chiefs' defense. If they're really able to stop Saquon or not. If they're able to stop Saquon, I think it'll be a low-scoring game. I think it'll be a low-scoring, grueling game on both sides, right? Because these are two very elite defenses. That's what people don't recognize, right? They see Jalen Hurts, they see Mahomes, they see these picturesque guys, and they're like, wow, these guys, a high-scoring game, it's going to be insane. Honestly, Raffi, this matchup on paper, in comparison to previous Super Bowls, might look like the Rams-Patriots. And we all remember that Super Bowl and how low scoring that was.
This is my thing, though. Jared Goff was so bad, though, in that Super Bowl. Because the Patriots pass rush was consistently in the backfield, sacking Jared Goff. They could not get anything put together.
Mobile QBs now, so it's a bit different in that sense. But I think it's still going to be a low-scoring game. Or maybe, Raffi, you're completely right. Maybe there is just absolutely no way this can be a low-scoring game. That you just have two QBs that just won't allow that because they were able to scramble and move around the pocket and really throw off the defenses and so quick with throwing the ball and whatnot. So you know what? It's either going to be low scoring, Raffi, or I think it's going to be a complete shootout. I don't see a middle ground per se. I don't see us being I see this game either being a 17-10 game. Or a game that goes up to over 30 points. There's no in between. I don't think. I don't think it'll be a 25-21 game. I don't see that. I think it's gonna be either shootout or very low scoring game.
Honestly, I'm leaning more towards that middle area of a 28-24, 28-27 close game. I think it's gonna be for sure close. And again, as much as I wouldn't be shocked if the defenses completely shut down both offenses, I just think the offenses are a bit too dynamic for us to get a 17-14 type of Super Bowl. I'll also mention the big thing too, and that's the fact that we've seen the Chiefs and Eagles put up very good offensive numbers, albeit none of the Eagles' opponents really have. None of the Eagles' opponents so far I consider having strong defenses. The Chiefs have played the Bills, who are a very tough defense. The Texans' defense, I, and then the Chiefs had obviously had the bye as well, so they didn't play anyone in the wild card weekend. And so what I'm getting at is this for both teams. This is going to be the best defense they're playing in this postseason that they've played in this postseason. And I think also as the Midwest person on this podcast, I have to talk about this because this is all the Midwest people will talk about. It's the rave, the weather. All of these two teams' matchups have been outdoors. Neither team has played in a dome, and I think playing in a concealed environment where there's no snow, there's no external factors, I think it's going to also lead to being more offensively friendly as well. I know Rams Patriots was in a dome as well. I know every Super Bowl over the past how many years. I think the last one. When was the last? When was the one in MetLife? Broncos Seahawks, which was I believe 2013. Consistently, it's been indoors, is what I'm getting at. So things trend differently from Super Bowl to Super Bowl, but I think being in a dome and no weather circumstances is also going to lead to potentially a little bit more scoring than we're anticipating, even though both defenses are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. It's interesting, Raffi. We usually don't very much have this level of divide on the results of a game, but I can't wait to see my prediction play out. And Raffi, let's make a wager on this, shall we? Is that yes?
Say the wager. Say the wager.
Well, I will. Okay. All right. Let's do it. All right. If the Eagles are to win, like they will, you have to make a TikTok video about why Brady is the greatest of all time, and Mahomes will never be able to catch up to him. And of course, Rafi, I need to do the opposite because of our previous wager. But then I'll do another video based off your choosing.
Okay. I will decide that fate at another time because we can discuss that at another point.
The beauty about this is that you don't even need to decide at a later time, because in 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks' time, we're gonna be sitting on the same podcast. I'm gonna be wearing the same shirt. I'm gonna make sure of it, and the Eagles are gonna be Super Bowl champs.
Yes, I'm sure you'll get this one right, just like Oregon winning the Big 12 and the Big 10, just like the Patriots winning more than 5 games, just like the Bears making the Super Bowl last year, just like the Chargers making the Super Bowl. David, I know that you're being dead on, and this is a losing battle for me, but I agree to your friendly wager, and I look forward to you being wrong once again. But that'll do it for this edition of the Benchwarmer Sports Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. This podcast was all over the place, but you know what? Every now and then it's good to have one that's kind of just all over the place and leads to both of us not yelling and screaming at each other, but having a heavy and very passionate dialogue. Respectful banter is exactly what I was about to say. So we hope you enjoyed. Can't wait for the Super Bowl. We'll see what ends up happening. Yes, we're all dreading it, but at least it's two very, very good teams. So if you had taken away the fact that it's the Chiefs and the Eagles and you just stripped everything down to Team A versus Team B, I think a lot of people would be happy with this matchup. It's just unfortunate that one of the teams is the Philadelphia Eagles and the other team is Kansas City Chiefs. But regardless, we hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. Let us know your predictions down in the comments below. And for Davian, we hope you enjoy this edition of the Benchwarmer Podcast. Have a good one, and see you next time. Bye.
Peace.